record button because we're right on 9 o'clock now. So I've just posed a question to the group before we kick off today on how was 2020 versus 2019 on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being so much better, 1 being so much worse, and 3 being the same. And Paul, you said it was a 5 for mindset. So tell me about that.
Well, it helped me spending more time at home to rethink what you're doing, what business is about and what your private life is about. So having more time helped me to get to that point that I'm quite clear what I want to do for the coming years. Business-wise, I lost 400,000 euros with my team. So that meant that being on stage and doing a lot of training went from 100K to nothing. Consultancy reduced immensely, and 5 out of 6 consultants were sitting at home. So yes. Business was and is still very tough because we do a lot on site, consulting, training on the job, and it's done. And you can try to do it on the screen, but that's totally different if people are in need of support. But for mindset, hey, it helped, and being on Zoom with you guys every week and with other groups, it's lovely. So that's okay.
Yeah, and congratulations on your recent wedding anniversary as well. And I mean, I think that's fantastic. And you know, like all of our clients, you're a personal friend of ours, and you know we love you to death. And to see you having the time this year to, you know, you and Jeanette to spend together and go and visit some places and that sort of thing around, you know, around the Netherlands has been fantastic. And I know this year has sucked from a business perspective for many people. For us, you know, it's been okay. Some areas are down. Obviously, we're not running anywhere near as many events. I mean, a poor year for us is we run 50 live events. You know, a big year is 150 live events. This year, I think we've run 6, so maybe 8. So, I mean, that's not been many. So that side of our business has dropped off, but it's given us a chance to, as you said, to focus on other sides of the business and also on other sides of things as well, refine a lot of things, you know, and also to look at really what you're doing. So I've got a couple of things to share. We've got Lindsay Adams joining us on the call today. He'll be in a little later. Diane, you've got a 5 there for 2020. So I'm interested in just picking up with you. Why 2020 was a 5 for you? Where are you there? All right.
I'm here. I think it was a good time for me to work out exactly what it was that I was doing. I've been helping a lot of businesses over many years, but never really structured anything. And with your and Lindy's help, I was able to create my IP. So the Diamond Plan was born. And then from that, during lockdown, I created a business community just to keep my business owners focused and adding positivity to their lives. And so the Diamond Academy was created. And from that, the Diamond Den came. So it's been a very interesting year filled with diamonds. But it's definitely a year that helped streamline what I was doing and also monetize what I was doing, because I was doing a whole lot for nothing.
Yeah, very, very good feedback. So it's been, for those of you just joining the call, we're just before Lindsay comes on the call in about 20 minutes time. We've got a number of things we want to cover off, but I just asked the question for the group on, you know, on a scale of 1 to 5, how was 2020 compared to 2019? And for the most part, the people in our ecosystem seem to have got through 2020 okay. Now, I'll just pick up one more and then I'll go into sharing what I wanted to share for today. Bruce, I'm going to be with you. So you've got 5 for business and 4 for mindset. Would you mind sharing why you felt it was a 5 for business, and also your mindset was very strong and better than 2019 as well?
Yeah, I think for us, we were able to re-gear and retool ourselves really quickly, and we were already doing a lot of preempting work based on what Michelle did with you in
Bali.
last year, yeah, at the business school, and and it's just happened. We've now got 6 months cash flow in our bank. We've got this whole sales pipeline taped. I ran a workshop on Saturday, a free workshop. I've got 5 potential clients already, signed 2 of those already. So the mechanics of that, we're beginning to understand the mechanics of all the theory that's been whizzing around in our head, and we're very, very happy with where we're at. And now we're on the brink of actually getting into India. I'm speaking to people to get into Europe as well with another product. So our expansion plans for next year are outrageously sort of, over the horizon. So we're very, very, very happy. And I think without COVID, we would have been trying to still do the same things the same way, expecting, a 4% increase, because that's what kind of the world says. We're going, and I love this. Why don't we just write 2 noughts on the back instead of going for 4%?
Exactly. And I think, thank you for that so much. And I think COVID's given us all a time to actually go back in and see what's important for many of us. That is, some family stuff, friend stuff. We've been booking dinner dates online with friends from around the world. And, when I look at this call already, I think I see 6 different countries represented on this call, from Europe all the way across to the Pacific as well, Asia, and of course, Australia also. What I want to do is just bring up, because this is going to be something that's on everybody's mind. And normally I could tell you that Lundy and I by now, in fact, I can show you, I think, jeepers, look at this. Well, hang on. This was our 2020 plan. Oops, where is it gone? Straight there. Okay, as you can see, all these little yellows and reds and everything like this would tell us exactly where we should have been. What's the date today? Somebody, 17th of November, is it? 17th of November, today we would be running a mastermind in Melbourne. So we would have been with you today, Philippe, if COVID hadn't have hit. So that's what was happening. So now everybody's looking at 2021 and what's going to happen from a planning perspective. So I want to share with you our 1-page planning strategy, and I want to show it to you from a couple of different areas, and just talk you through this for a little while. As I said, we're going to have Lindsay Adams joining us on the call just a little bit later than usual today. And we're going to do the call a little bit different today. We're going to shake it up a little bit. So we've got a lot of things to cover. So this is a 1-page business strategy and plan. You can get this in the Octopus. It's in module 1. You can download the infographic. All of you that are Circle of Excellence members or members of the Octopus tribe can find it there. And let's start on the left in the gold area. So this is what I want you to sort of tick off next to you. Here's a box that I want you to tick off. Here's my question. My question is, if I came into your office, wherever that is, your home, your business, wherever, and asked you for these things, could you pull them out and present them? Number 1 is your values. So at least your top 3 values. Could you pull those out and present them? If so, give yourself a tick. So number 2 is, if you've written a book or if you're in the process of writing a book, then give yourself a tick. And particularly if you can lay your hands on that book and it's, sitting in front of you or whatever it is as well, give yourself a tick for that one. Now, if not, then maybe you should have a look at doing this a different way, which is what Rainer Patek has posted recently. He's done a phenomenal, and I'm so glad he's actually sending us one. He's done a phenomenal coffee table book this year with photos from his journeys, his strategies that he teaches, He's in organizational structure and design. And, he is a speaker and a consultant based out of Germany as well. So in 2020, he's actually put this coffee table book together. So give yourself a tick for that. The next one is if you actually have written down somewhere what we call red flags. In other words, issues that are stopping you from moving ahead. Now, they could be personal issues. They could be business issues. They could be blind spots that you have. And for most of them, they're possibly blind spots. And if you've got a coach, hopefully that coach has made you aware of those blind spots and things that you're not doing well. In fact, I'll give you a great example of that. Last week, we had a meeting, and I won't mention with who, because some of you will see that we're entering into a new business partnership, which will happen in January. It's going to benefit a lot of you that are in our ecosystem. But the individual is probably the best known person in his industry. He was with us last week with his CEO live, flew in. We convinced him to fly in for a day, all secret squirrel. We didn't post any photos because we didn't give you any tips on it. But I can tell you this, that when we actually sat down with him, I struggled to find a photo of this guy online. Now, he's what you would call a mechanic, a systems profile. So he's producing a lot of things from behind the scenes, got a very, very successful business, very well known. Many of you on this call know this business, but I couldn't find a photo of him. So the red flag for me is we've got to take this business now and make it even bigger. We're going to be part of it, but we've actually got to go back to the drawing board and help build out a lot of the reputation stuff so that the people that don't know about this globally in countries where it doesn't exist are going to be able to find this. So what are your red flags? Do you know those? Give yourself a tick if you do. And also, what are some of your goals? Do you have at least 3 goals? Do you have a financial goal? Do you have a personal goal? Do you have a spiritual goal? If I came into your office and asked you, show me what your goals are, could you produce a folder? Could you produce your goals written in the back of a diary? Or are they just something that floats around in the back of your head? And don't give yourself a tick if they're floating around in the back of your head. That doesn't count. So then we're going to move into this black area here. And this is really about your offers. So it's what you're actually presenting to the world. So we're looking at 2021. This is a great system to use, which is why I'm sharing it with you. So do you have written down your core avatar? Exactly who you're going for. Now, this particular individual that I was talking about last week actually has a business that has 2 types of client. And in one of those types of client, they have thousands. And in the other type of client, which is their very high end and really their focus, they have over 400 of them, just have 400. But we've asked them to produce a 5-star client model based on their values. So they only take clients based on their values because, of course, like most businesses that don't take clients based on values, they've got a real big 80-20 swing and they're spending a lot of time. They work really hard, these guys, a lot harder than we do. So do you know your core avatar, their demographic and their psychographic? Is that written down? Could I access it? Could you hand it over to me? Have you got a picture of them? When I recently put together a presentation, and I know, Paul, when I took you through it some time ago for the Global Expert Institute, I said to you, Paul, if you can help, this is it. Yeah, you're nodding. This is the exact person I'm looking for. I had a photo of the person. Paul went, oh, I know somebody like that. I'll talk to them, right? So that's the type of thing, get that specific. Next, do you know what services you're offering? In other words, what's your baseline service you're offering? Is it consulting? I can see Sarah on the call. So is it being a literary agent, or is it, authorship mentoring? What is it? What's your baseline service? What's your stretch service? In other words, the natural upsell from that. And then from there, what's your big ticket item, your grand slam service? And are there any products associated with that? Just because you have a service-based business, don't think that you can't have products based with it as well. Of course, we have worldwide business intelligence. The Octopus is one of our companies. It's fundamentally a service-based company, but next year, Lundy will be bringing out products with octopuses on them, starting with clothing and then moving into other things as well. So a lot of businesses have ability to have products. Give yourself a tick for that. And then, do you understand your pricing structure? Do you have a pricing structure? Is your pricing structure, oh, I think I need this much money? Or is it, oh, well, my competitors price at this, so I'll price at that? Have you actually gone and done research? Honestly, when I work with people on their pricing structures, I just find that most people they really price too low. In fact, those of you that are speakers, you can go to eSpeakers now and look at my profile. Last week, I doubled my rate on eSpeakers. So, and it's interesting because I actually had my first eSpeakers inquiry in the last week since I doubled my rate on eSpeakers. So interesting. You know, you're probably selling yourself too cheap. And that was what I was thinking this year too, is some of our products and services are just too cheap. So in 2021, we'll be pushing our prices up on a lot of things. Then moving into the blue areas here, your sales. So do you have a written down positioning strategy? Now, I won't go into the infographics that we share on that, but you know, there's many of them available in the Octopus. You can go and look at that. So do you have a written down positioning strategy? So what's your online strategy? What's your social media strategy, etc. From a positioning point of view? Is there a new book coming out? You know, like Diane, have you got the diamond plan or your own blueprint or something like that? Then do you have a sales kit? Now, it's amazing how many people don't even have a pitch document or a presentation in their sales kit. Could I find that if I came to your office, or is your sales kit just what you tell people and hope that they buy? And then how do you measure your sales? Do you have a system? Do you have a CRM system? Do you have a funnel system? Are you using something like ClickFunnels? Could you show me that? Okay, so they're the sorts of things. Just give yourself a check if you have all of these and could put them in front of me inside of like 10 seconds of me coming into your office. Then your marketing. So what's your high quality lead generation plan? Do you have that step by step written down? You know, are you using LinkedIn? Do you go to a networking event? Are you networking online? Are you running masterminds? What are you doing? Are you doing live events? What's your marketing plan here? Are you doing Facebook ads? What is it? Is it written down? And your LinkedIn profile, is it up to date? If you showed me your LinkedIn profile, does it fully represent who you are absolutely 100% today? And then your digital footprint, is it checked off? So in other words, if I Google you, and I'm going to give you an exact example of what I'm talking about. Just this week, Lundy did an online event for one of the groups that we support. And at that online event, I think she had 20 or 25 people were on the call, she said. One of them contacted us after through our website. I have no idea who he was, neither did she, and said, I need your help. So I Googled him. Then I went back to him and said, is this you on a LinkedIn? He said, yes, this is me. So I said, you've got a problem. Now, I kid you not, this guy is a marketing specialist. He has 10,000 connections on LinkedIn. Here's his digital footprint. I Google him. The first thing that comes up is his LinkedIn profile. The second thing that comes up is some blog post that he did 4 years ago. The third thing that comes up is the fact that he's been bad listed for spamming online. So it's clearly there on his Google search. So I wrote back to him with a copy of the Google search and I said, you've got some problems. Why haven't you fixed this? This happened in 2012. You said you're in marketing. I think I can see where your problems lie. You know, folks, get people to Google you and have a look at your digital footprint. And that's really going to help. So I'm just going to move us because your photos are in the way of my, my next one. And then the gold is your support. So can you show me who your mentors and guides are? For most of you, you go, yeah, Mike, it's you and Lundy, right? But, and then have you got a list of your key strategic partners and alliances? And then your assistants. So who's assisting you? contractors, Fiverr operators that you specialize in, a VA, somebody like that, even your staff that you may have. And then can you show me, oh, I'm using these technologies and I understand these. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 14. We've got 18 potential ticks there. Just go to the chat now and just tell me how many of you, how many ticks have you got? How many ticks did you give yourself? And just be honest there, and let's have a look at the chat. I'll just stop the share for a minute. You can add those up one last time, give you a couple of seconds. And I'm just interested to see how many ticks we've got. And I would expect that we've got quite a lot in this group, except for the newer people in this group. So let's have a look. Here we go. Let's go to the chat for a second. Okay, let's get some numbers in the chat there, folks. How many ticks have you got? How many of these things have you got? 15. Well done, Paul. That's what I would have expected from you. That's great. 13 and 13.5. Thanks, Bruce. Excellent. On paper, 10. In my head, 17. Great, Sarah. You know what you need to do with the other 7. Get them into some formula here. Not in the office, say 8 or 9. 1 for you guys for 2020. Melanie, that's fantastic. You're new, very new to our environment, so you can see the journey of even a year or so, like Diane's been on, where she might have had, you know, a few last year and 14 this year. Filippo, good to see you, brother, 11 there, and Mary, 10. So you can see that we're starting to develop. Let me just throw this thing back up for you here again, just for a minute. So here, I'll just reduce this and move it over here because your pretty pictures are blocking my screen. What you can do is you can either take a screenshot of this if you want to. You can go to the Octopus and download the infographic. It's in module 1 in the Octopus stuff there. You've all got access to it. And therefore, I would suggest at some stage over the next couple of weeks that you actually go and start building this out as a very simple one-page business strategy and plan for 2021. Let me move on now to my next infographic for you. I've just got 2 to share with you today, and then we're going to bring Lindsay in because he's our very special guest today. Let's just go back, share screen. Here we go. So I wanted to keep on the one-page sort of idea, and I wanted to go to one-page marketing and sales plan. So for many of you, you know and understand the money train concept of going from lead to trust to love to sale to journey. So I want to just focus over here on the lead part of the money train. So your checklist here is a one-page marketing sales plan. Again, this stuff's in the Octopus. You can find it. No problem. It's in the marketing area of the Octopus, which I think is module 5. But you can take a screenshot of this. I'll reduce it for you at the end. So again, we're checking in on the same stuff. So who's your ideal buyer? Let's not start 2021 without knowing exactly who your ideal buyer is in 2021. If you don't know that, if you haven't got a demographic or a psychographic from them, if you haven't got keywords that you can clearly research and find for them, then you're really going to be sitting there at some stage during the year going, oh, I need prospects. You know, you should have literally hundreds of leads just sitting there at any one time. Then let's go to number 2 here. So what are your offers? If you're not sure how to build an offer, or if you want to review the offers, go in and do the 12-step high-end offer design process. It's in module 3 of Circle of Excellence. It's in module 3 of the Octopus as well. What's in this is going to enable you to build some trust with people. And we've got to help people trust us as much as we can. So sampling is a huge thing. You know, many of you who've been around us for a while know that we've done lots of masterminds, well over 100 live masterminds, 17 countries we've run masterminds in, from Cairo in Egypt to, not in Canberra, but to Adelaide and Perth in Australia will be other examples. From Denver, Colorado, well, I should have said Cairo to Colorado because those match, or from Stockholm to Singapore. We've run masterminds to build trust. But in 2021, we have got a whole new thing we're doing to build trust. I'll share it with you next year. I'm not sharing it now because I want to test and trial it. We're going to trial it for 3 months and then we'll show you the results from that. But it's actually going to be less people, higher end sales, a whole range of things. I'm really excited about it. The people I've shared it with in our inner circle just love the idea. So what are you doing to build trust? By the way, how did I come up with it? High-end design process, the same infographic you're looking at there in offers. If you want to know where it is, then definitely go to module 3 in the octopus and you'll find it there. Then your LinkedIn profile will also build trust. So, you know, when somebody comes across you and goes, oh, you know, who's Philippe Gouchard? They're probably not going to go to your website, Philippe, because they don't trust that, because they go, oh, Philippe wrote that. Okay. And I have to say, Filippo, while I've got you on the call, your new website's stunning. I love the photo on the front page there. Go and have a look at Filippo's website, Filippo Levy, you'll see him.com. You might want to put it in the chat. People can go and check that out. It's really great. So your LinkedIn profile is where they're going to go first. Often Google fits more above your website. LinkedIn fits more above your website in Google than what your website does. They're going to gain trust. So you've got to make sure you've got new and updated and relevant testimonials there as well. So make sure that they're there. And then from there, moving into traffic drivers. So tried and tested traffic drivers. What's working best for us at the moment is 2 things in terms of traffic drivers. Number one, we're running a lot of them, but I'm talking about bringing people into our ecosystem. And number one thing that is adding people to our database at the moment is the release of the Entrepreneur X Factor book. It's not a small book. It's hundreds of pages. It's not a cheap ebook. Several of you on this call are in that book. That's our number one traffic driver at the moment. And number 2 traffic driver is Lundy's white paper on how to make money off LinkedIn. So that's our number 2 traffic driver. And number 3 traffic driver is a webinar it's a 20 evergreen webinar that I did on sales and marketing. So traffic drivers tried and tested. By the way, I have to say that we're doing a webinar in 2 days' time. And that webinar, we've had an 85% book-in rate from the actual people that have landed on the webinar page. So if you've received an email from us in the last week, go and have a look at the book-in page. That page has converted 85% of traffic into bookings. So tried and tested stuff. We've got Lindsay Adams on the call. Welcome, Lindsay. We'll be with you in just a few minutes. Then number 5 here is your positioning. So making sure that your positioning is right, your authority is right, your credibility is right, your social proof is right as well. And then your digital footprint. We have a digital footprint checker. It's in the Octopus program. You can go and have a look at that. In fact, when we were talking to, just the other day, I was talking to one of the government departments in Australia that does a lot of education. They've been looking at taking on board the Octopus and white labeling it. And they've said to me, they've never seen so much content in any one program that's different and unique. And one of the things they loved was the digital footprint checker. It's in the Octopus as well, probably in the marketing area. And then make sure you've got your sales pitch decks alive as well. So you want a new pitch deck for 2021. You want new updated photos in it. You want new brands. You want to give it a refresh. That's something to do over the Christmas period. You know, so look at our material around sales pitch decks. And then what's your reminder systems that sit behind this as well? How are you running your online diaries? Have you got mobile apps? What are you using to keep you engaged? One of the ones that we love and we think that you should be using, in fact, I'm releasing some statistics about this in my webinar this week, but I'm going to share them with you today, is we've been using Rescue Time. And out of Rescue Time is a great app. You just put it on your computer, it tells you where you're spending your time online. And it basically says, out of 171 million users, I think the statistic is that people are spending on average 1.7 hours a day on things they've tagged unproductive when they allocate time on Rescue Time. 1.7 hours of their day. So look at that. So it's nearly 2 hours a day they're spending unproductive. And people are spending on average 3.5 hours a day on their mobile device at the moment. This is from 171 million users. So it's not small stuff. So look at where you're spending your time, look at the reminders, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just going to blow this thing down for you. So those of you who want to take a screenshot now of the one-page marketing and sales plan, please do so and grab that screenshot now, because this is something that I suggest you also look at as we lead into 2021. I want to stop the share now, and I want to introduce to you our very special guest, Lindsay Adams. Where are you, Lindsay? I'll just give you co-sharing rights as well. Just 1 second here, make co-host, there you go. And I want to welcome you to the call today. You've got some old friends on the call and some people you never know. We've got people from 6 different countries on the call today. Plus, you know, we record this, it goes into our various environments, as you know, and it's fantastic to see you here. We're going to be talking about referrals today, but to introduce Lindsay, Lindsay is one of the true gentlemen of the speaking industry worldwide, a certified speaking professional, a past president of the Global Speakers Federation, as is Paul Taval, who's on this call as well, and of course a global speaking fellow, and most recently, and I think the first and only one in the world to, in this year's Queen's Honours Award, to be given one of the Queen's Awards, correct me if I'm wrong, OBE or OBM, you tell me, for services to the speaking industry, Lindsay. And really, again, I just want to acknowledge you for that and all of your leadership. Lovely to have you. Over to you.
Thank you, Mike. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. The award was actually given in the Australia Day Awards, and it was the Order of Australia Medal, and a huge honour and totally unexpected and thoroughly delightful. What I plan to do this afternoon is just talk for a little bit, and then I'm really happy to take questions and answers and coach you if you're interested in what you're doing with your referral stuff. The presentation is, I titled it, The 3 Massive Mistakes That People Make That Stop Them Getting Referrals. And really, you know, one of the mistake number 3 is confusing networking with selling. A lot of people go networking thinking that they're going to sell stuff. Hands up for me, who's ever gone into a networking function thinking or hoping I'm going to sell my book, my whatever, or my whatever. So I'm seeing hands go up around the room. Thank you for being honest. You know, I've been guilty of this a long, long time ago, and I've learned that really when you go networking, the first and most important thing you can do is build relationships. There's a guy called mental blank.
Just say Mike Handock.
The guy who founded BNI around the world. What's
Ivan Meisner.
Ivan Meisner, thank you. Man, how did that happen? Ivan Meisner created a concept called VCP, visibility, credibility, profitability. And he said that you've got to have visibility first, then you've got to have profitability, then you've got to have credibility, and then and only then can you move to profitability. And so here's how it works. If you're going to go out networking, you've got to be visible so that when you enter the room, people go, oh, look, there's Paul Taval, there's Mike Handock, there's Heather Cresswell. you know, so they know and understand who you are. So you raise your visibility by turning up, by being part of a group, by handing out your business cards. Maybe you might have a corporate uniform. You might wear outrageous shirts and outrageous shoes. So you become known for that, like someone else who's present on the call. So you raise your visibility. The next thing is you've got to have credibility. And how do you get credibility? There's two ways. You can earn it or you can be given it. So you can earn credibility simply by keeping your promises. You say, I'm going to show up at 5:30 Brisbane time in Australia to do Mike Handock's group. Well, here I am. So I've just scored a little credibility marker, a micro credibility, gold star for showing up. Then I'm going to build my credibility more by sharing good information that you can take away and use and implement in your business tomorrow. Or today, depending on what time zone you're in. And so you earn it by keeping your promises. So if you say you're going to do something, well, do it. Now, there's another way you can get it. You can actually be given credibility. And here's how that works. Let's say someone approaches Mike and says, Mike, I need help. I'm not getting enough business by referral. Who would you recommend? Mike says, you should talk to Lindsay Adams. And they go, Lindsay who? Oh, Lindsay Adams. He's a dear friend of mine from Australia. He lives in Brisbane. He's incredibly handsome. He's tall. He's sophisticated. I saw that laugh, Melanie. Yeah, I saw that. Anyway, so Mike sings my praises. And he already has credibility with this person who's asking him, and he passes his credibility to me. And so the person then engages with me, and I may earn money teaching them how to build their business by referral. Now, what could go wrong here? Well, one thing that could go wrong is that I actually don't do a good job. And so if you're going to pass on your credibility to someone else and make a referral, make sure that they're not going to let you down. So two ways to get credibility. You can earn it or you can be given it. And then, and only then, can you move to profitability. And so if you're visible and credible, then people may choose to do business with you. Now, be careful. Don't do this. I went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting on the south side of Brisbane a couple of months back. It was a long couple of months back. It was before COVID. Anyway, I met this guy for the first time, and we shook hands. He said hello, and he said, Lindsay, tell me what you do. I said, oh, look, I speak at conferences. I run training seminars and workshops, and, I do a little bit of coaching. And, so we talked a bit about, the stuff that I get involved in. I said, look, I'm known as the relationships guy around the world. I teach people how to get into a relationship quickly and how to leverage those relationships to get more business. So I finished my little spiel, and he goes, you do training. You probably have workbooks and handouts. I said, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. And then he launched on me. He did what I call the networking pounce. He said, great, I run a print shop. I run XYZ printers, and I can do black and white. I can do full color. I can bind, I can staple, I can perfect bind. If you order by lunchtime today, I can have them sitting on your desk first thing tomorrow morning. I do really good rates. I do. And like my head was spinning, and I couldn't even remember the guy's name, let alone want to do business with him. He had no credibility with me. He had visibility. He was right there in front of me, shouting at me almost with what he could do for me, but he had no credibility. So be careful. You've got to have visibility and credibility before you can move to profitability. Okay, second biggest mistake is ignoring the power of your network. Okay, I want you to do this. Get out your mobile phone, your mobile device. Everyone's got one. It's at your fingertips now. Get it out, turn it on, open up your contacts and start scrolling through. If you get bored with scrolling through your contacts, go onto Facebook, go onto LinkedIn and say, I'm listening to Lindsay Adams. He's amazing. That's if you get bored, okay? scroll through your contacts, and I guarantee you'll find names in there of people that you have forgotten you knew. You see, social scientists tell us that we all know a minimum of 500 people. I got about 2,000 contacts in my phone. I wonder how many are in your phone, and I wonder how often you contact those contacts. And so we undervalue our network. We all know lots and lots of people, but we never work our connections enough. And so we've got to stay in touch. Now, there are three kinds of people in our networks. We have gurus, greats, and go-tos. So gurus, they're the people that we go to for to learn. I mean, Mike Handock, perfect example of a guru in my life. You know, go to Mike. You know, he's a great fountain of knowledge, and you want to know the latest on how to do something, this guy knows about it. And then there might be the greats in your life. And so in this group here, Paul Tavall would be a great in my life. And so he's, you know, he's one of my buddies and one of my oldest and dearest friends. And I can go to him and you know, Paul will be there to support me through thick and thin. And so if something hasn't gone right, I can get onto Zoom and I go, mate, I bloody stuffed up, blah, blah, blah. And he go, there, it's all right. Look, dust yourself off, pick yourself up, get going again, you'll be fine. And then there are the go-tos, and these are the people that you go to for referrals. So 3 kinds of networks. Think about in your phone, who fits where and how do you move them around from each network category to the other. Ideally, we're going to have a lot of go-tos, that is people that we can go to who we have enough visibility and credibility with that they can refer us onto their clients. Now, if we want to do referral business, we've got to be able to understand and teach other people what is our target market. So here's my challenge to you all. I want you all now to take a moment and write out a sentence that describes your target market. Okay, I seriously want you to do this now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. So write down one sentence that describes your target market, and then I'm going to be looking for a volunteer to come off mute and share that sentence with me. So while I have a big drink of water, away you go. So I'm looking for a volunteer. Somebody just read out your sentence for me, please. Don't be bashful, don't be shy. Every child wins a prize. Sadly, there are no children here, but never mind.
Philippe's there. Oh, Heather, go for it.
Successful entrepreneurs wanting to grow their business in a conscious and sustainable way.
Okay, great. Heather, where do you live?
In Cape Town.
In Cape Town, fantastic. So can I ask some silly questions? I mean, I like your sentence. You want to work with successful entrepreneurs. If everyone who fit that description that lived in Cape Town lined up at your door right now, could you cope with that much business?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Right. See, this is the thing with the target market. We've got to narrow it down. So think about a dartboard. You all understand what a dartboard looks like. There's a bullseye in the middle and there's concentric rings outside. You throw darts at it. What happens when you throw a dart and it hits the bullseye? Heather, you can answer the question. You're off mute.
Oh, well, you win the prize.
Yeah, you win, you know, you score points. You get I used to say you get the highest score, but someone pointed out that in our family, if you hit the bullseye, you get 50. If you hit a triple 20, that's 60. Anyway, you get a good score. So think of this. If your target market is in that bullseye zone, you're going to get a good score. You're going to work with someone who's got a lot of money, easy to work with, and so on. And in fact, I want you now to all think about your best client ever. Get a picture of that person, that company, that organization in your head right now. And then I want you to think about, and your homework is to jot down and describe that company, that person, that organization, because they're the people you want to work with more of. So your target market, you've got to get it tight. So Heather, if you just come off mute again, you said you want to work with successful entrepreneurs, and give me the rest of the sentence again, please.
They're wanting to grow their business in a conscious and sustainable way.
Okay, wanting to grow their business in a conscious and sustainable way. Okay, could we put some parameters in there that would narrow down that target market, would make it more precise?
Yes.
Yeah, so what could we add? Successful entrepreneurs in the suburbs of, I don't know any suburbs in Cape Town. I'm sorry, I've been there a couple of times, but.
Yeah, so I want to work more globally than.
You want to work more globally, okay. Then successful entrepreneurs who reside in, pick a large city in the world, in Paris, in New York, in whatever. See, what I want you all to think about is, how do we narrow this down? And having just said picking Paris or New York, there's millions of people there, I know, it sounds silly. I want you to narrow it down. So I'll give you a real life example. I spoke with a financial planner. I said, who's your target market? He said, I want to work with young professionals. I said, okay, help me understand, what's a young professional? He said, well, someone up to the age of 35 who's an accountant, a lawyer, or maybe an architect or something like that. Okay, so can you see we've narrowed it down? I said, okay. And he said they have to be willing to invest and take risk. Okay, so we're narrowing it down again. I said, righto, what else? He said, preferably with a partner who has a job, and between them they earn at least $150,000. So can you see how we're tightening that target market? So he's leaving. I mean, I said to him, well, what would you do if you found a young couple of professionals who earned $100,000? And he said, well, it might work, but it's going to be harder. So they would go towards the outer ring of the dartboard. So can you see where I'm going with this? You've got to get tight on who's your target market. The tighter that is, then you can teach your go-tos the kind of referrals that you want to get. Okay, so last mistake that people make is they network without a plan. So in the chat box, I want you to type plan if you have a network or referral marketing plan already in place. In the chat box, type plan. I'm looking. Not getting too many. Oh, Mike Handock's got typed in plan. Well done, Mike. Okay, so see, here's the thing. There's this old saying, you've heard it all before. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You've heard that old one. So here's the thing. My last tip I want to share with you, and then we're going to go and start talking, and I'm happy to work with other people. I want to share with you a concept that I call the key four. And this is the key to unlocking referrals in your business. And it's a really simple concept. So watch closely. Here's you. You're my thumb. And these four fingers are 4 other people. And here is your target market. And so these 4 people share the same target market as you, but they do not compete with you. Okay? So let's Paul Taval, go off mute for me, please. So Paul, what's your business? What do you do?
I'm a consultant on employee engagement.
On employee engagement, okay. So could you tell me 4 other people that would work with clients that you work with that don't compete with you? Can you give me some ideas? Other consultants or other,
That are the big HR companies in the world.
Okay, HR companies, yeah. Who else?
Speakers around the world.
Speakers around the world, yeah. What about accounting firms maybe, or accountants?
Yeah, but then the HR department of them, and IT companies.
IT companies. Okay, so can you see where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen? So the idea is you find 4 other people who share your target market and don't compete with you. I'll give you a really simple example. Residential real estate agent sells houses to young couples who want to live in the house of their dreams. His key 4 is made up with a mortgage broker, an insurance guy, a legal guy who does the conveyancing, a building and pest inspector, a pool guy, a landscape guy. Can you see how this works? All of those people can refer business back to the real estate agent. They all work with young couples who want to live in the house of their dreams, and they don't compete against each other. So here's my challenge to you. You've got to, before the day ends, in whatever time zone you're in, before the day ends, you've got to write down 4 names that could become your key 4 and then bring referrals to you. You see, it's a really simple process. If you can show them that you can refer business to them and they can refer business to you, happy days. Now, I have a number of different key 4s. So I have a key 4 in the speaking industry. I have a key 4 in teaching people how to do business by referral. And so one key 4 kind of feeds off another. How many key 4s can you have? Well, don't overdo it because you'll spread yourself too thin. But it's possible to have more than one group and they kind of spin off each other. With the key 4, it's important that they understand what you do so that they can talk about you when you are not present in the room. And so they can refer you to someone they're speaking to as if they work for you and your business. Now, when I go to a networking function, when I'm talking to someone, in my mind, I'm thinking, could I do business with this person? Or I'm thinking, if I can't do business, could one of my key 4 buddies do business with them? Can you see how this works? And so I'm always on the lookout for opportunities for either me or someone in my key 4. A really simple concept, and yet it's a very powerful concept. Okay, Mike, how are we going? I'm really,
We're going great.
I would love to answer any questions. I mean, I can keep talking.
I think we'll get some questions going, Lindsay. I think that'll be great from people. Just while we're doing, I just want to really back in what you're saying about this key 4 concept. You know, this is your thing, but it's a great thing. And many of you know that before Lundy and I were together, she had a very successful consultancy business. What you don't know is that it was successful because of Lindsay's key 4 concept. When she first started it, you know, she did what everybody did and went to networking and tried to get gigs. And she just went, this is too hard work. And I need what she calls brokers. And then once she got her first key 4, Lindsay, all she did was work on improving the quality of the key 4. And, you know, to be brutally honest with you, I mean, she had a really, really successful business. She worked 11 days a month when we met. It changed a lot in the first couple of years. Now she's back to 13 days a month, but she worked 11 days a month back then. So key 4 was the key. I think it's great advice, and you've got to think outside the square. Paul, would you mind if I shared what I just typed into the chat with you?
No problem. Go ahead.
So, you know, I was thinking about Paul's business because I understand Paul's business, and I think, you know, if he can find members of his key 4 in things like fleet sales, you know, because if you're selling fleet cars to a large corporate, you're talking to the CEO, you're playing golf with them. If you are the payroll company for a large corporate, you're the CEO, you're playing golf with the CEO of the large corporate. If you're doing all the insurances for all the premises that this large corporate has, then you're playing golf with the CEO. And if you've got that corporate to spend $4 million on your CRM because your Salesforce or something else, then you're also talking to that CEO. So all of those people are the right engagements, and that way you can start, once you get those right people on board as well in a city, then what happens is that you start to ring fence that company. because the CEO is playing golf and he's hearing about you from the payroll guy and from the fleet guy. So depending on what day he's playing golf. So it starts, it starts to be going, you're getting phone calls. And this was what Landy was getting. She was literally getting phone calls from CEOs going, hi, you don't know me. I know one of her biggest clients was Thomson Reuters. This is exactly how it happened. I'm the CEO of Thomson Reuters in Africa. We keep hearing your name and, where are you based? Do you want to come in and talk to us? That was literally how the conversation went. So here we've got a question for Lindsay from Sarah. Do you work on referral fees or is it casual?
Okay, now that's a really good question. Thanks for asking, Sarah. So there's two ways to do this. My basic belief is that one good referral deserves another. And so if you're working your key four and you're working it properly, you're going to be passing referrals to each other on a regular and recurring basis. So it's going to work out even Steven, if that's a silly Australian term. I hope you understand. It's going to work out even. Now, you can pay a referral fee. And so, for example, in the speaking industry locally here in Australia, I've got a couple of speaking buddies and we refer business to each other. However, we don't do it on a regular and recurring basis. And so we have an agreement that we pay each other a referral fee, 10, 15, 20%. It depends who it is and how big the job is and, blah, blah, blah. But you figure it out. However, you can pay a fee. Now, be careful if you're going to pay a fee to someone else. If your client finds out that you're passing on work and earning a referral fee for that, that may jeopardize your relationship with them. And they may say, well, so did you refer Paul to me because you wanted the percentage kickback that he gave you or because he's the best employee engagement guy in town? And so you've got to be careful with that stuff. Now, Paul has typed in the chat box, reciprocity is better than fees, I think. I heartily agree. Now, with the key four, with my key four, my local key four in Brisbane, I meet with them once a month. And we discuss what's happening in our business. Now, traditionally, we'd meet for lunch. In recent times, it hasn't been so easy, so we meet on Zoom. But, whatever you can do in your location, we meet regularly and we talk about what's happening in our business. So, what's your latest product? What sort of work are you looking for? What's happening for you at the minute? What is something that I could share with you so that you can go and tell your clients about it? And so we keep each other up to date. The other thing that we do is we become systematic with this. So we go to the meeting armed with 10, I'm still holding up 4 fingers because that represents the key four, but we go with 10 names. I'm going to hold my hand down. It's too confusing. So, oh, wait a minute, 10 names. There we go. That's better. 10 names of other people. And so here's how it works. I concoct a list of 10 people who I think may be potential clients for Paul and need some help with employee engagement. And so I go through my list with Paul and I say, Paul, look, I've got Diane Borman, Janice Baird, Heather Cresswell, Melanie Rothman, blah, blah, blah. I've got my names and then I'm going to contact them and I'm going to talk to them about you and offer to get them a meeting with you. And so here's how it goes. I contact Diane. I say, hi, Diane. When we were talking last, you mentioned that there were some challenges with the staff in your organization. It just so happens that one of my very good business colleagues, a guy called Paul Tavall, is one of the world's leading employee engagement experts. And it just occurred to me that maybe you and Paul should get together because he may be able to help you in your business. And in fact, remember when you were telling me about, that employee that, blah, 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 blah. Well, Paul dealt with a situation just like that recently in another company. So you figure out the example you give. How about I organize a meeting between you, Paul, and I? Now, here's the options here. Yes, no, maybe. So yes, that sounds quite interesting, actually. How would I meet this Paul? Well, you know, we could meet for coffee, we could meet for lunch, we could meet on Zoom. I could introduce you both, and you could have a meeting without me. No, actually, Lindsay, I think we're pretty good for the moment. Okay, fair enough. Oh, gee, I'm not sure. Well, look, how about Paul's got an information pack. Why don't I get him to send you that pack? Paul's got a really good website. Why don't you go and have a look at Paul's website? And so can you see where I'm going with this? Now, we move to the next step. I ring up Paul. Paul, I've got a meeting between you and Diane Borman. I've booked it for Zoom Monday the 4th at 10 a.m. You good for that? Yeah, I'm good. Cool. I'm going to be on that meeting because I want to introduce them and facilitate the discussion to bring them together. And then at some point or other, I'm going to step back and let Paul weave his magic. Can you see the difference that would make if I show up at the meeting? Now, I've had people say to me, oh, Lindsay, I got a referral for you. You should ring Mike Handock in Cape Town. He'd need your help for sure. I'll give you his number. That's not a referral. That's a cold call. Hello, Mike. And I've had this happen to me. I've rung people up. Oh, hello, Mike. Lindsay here. Paul Tavall said I should call. And he goes, who? Who gave you my name? What? Not again. I've literally had that conversation. What? Not again. And that was with our government agency called Austrade, who are responsible for finding businesses in Australia, business overseas. That was the quality of the referral they gave me. Anyway, you see, a good referral is a warm referral. By the time Diane gets to meet Paul, she's already had a look at his information pack. She's already had a look at his website. She's already got some questions in her head that she wants to ask him. And I've already briefed Paul on Diane, you know, one of the nicest people you'll meet, you know, a beautiful woman. How are we going so far, Diane? And I'll have some idea of, you know, maybe some of the challenges that Diane's facing so that Paul can prepare and sound so knowledgeable and so credible that he can move from visibility to credibility to profitability really quickly. Can you see how that works? And so you can do this in a very structured way and simply just keep swapping clients until you know, you get tired of it. Am I making sense?
That's great, Lindsay. You really are. We're going to start wrapping things up. We've got a question from Melanie. Do you do it with all four at the same time? I think that goes back to meeting.
Yeah. So meeting. Yeah. I meet with my key four all together because we're all sharing we're all sharing information to each other about each other because we all refer business to each other. So there's 5 of us in the meeting and I'm going to update, this one's going to update and so on and so on. And we're all looking for opportunities for each other. And there's been occasions, so let me, you know, I'm in the speaking industry and I want to speak at conferences. So by the way, if anybody, you know, if you know someone who's looking for a conference speaker to talk about referrals, I'd love to know about it. So I'm in the speaking industry. I speak about doing business by referral. I've got a mate who does sales. I've got a mate who does leadership. I've got a mate who does. Can you see where this goes? And so we are updating each other constantly on what's the latest trend. And sometimes we've actually had the luxury of more than one of us speaking at the same event because one of us has opened the door to the others. So you got to keep your antenna up all the time, thinking and listening for opportunities. So it's not just about you, it's about your key four. And by the way, I use this term key four because they are the key to unlocking and opening up referrals that'll come flooding into your business.
Yeah, fantastic. We've got time for maybe one more question before we call it. You know, I've actually had a couple of people come to me and say, Lindsay's great, can we have him again?
Well, listen, while you're thinking about that,
That's right, Paul wasn't one of them.
check it. Yeah, I know. Check this out. This is a book written by a bloke I know, Lindsay Adams, The DNA of Business Relationships. It's on Amazon. It's a really good read. It's cheap as chips. The key four concept is in this book. And I talk about, you know, when you go to a function, you meet someone for the first time, how do you actually engage with them? How do you open up a conversation? And then how do you turn that conversation into real business? So it's all in the book. You know, please go and if you're at all interested, go and buy yourself a copy. I'm in the middle of writing my next book at the minute, which I still haven't quite decided the title of, but it's about understanding people and bringing out the best in people. So, you know, working with people, relationships is kind of a passion of mine.
Absolutely. Well, I'd very much encourage everybody to grab a copy of that book. I've got a copy from a little while ago, and it's really good, as is everything that you do, Lindsay. Lindsay, I want to thank you so much for being on our call today, and I definitely want to encourage people, you know, to keep Lindsay in mind if you do come across speaking opportunities where he can talk about referrals, which is one of his pet topics, not his only one. Diane asked me, you know, can we get you Lindsay again? I said, oh, he's only got one shtick, Diane. So, you know, but she knows I was joking.
I learned everything I know from Mike Handock, so I've only got one thing.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks everybody for being on the call. Lindsay, thank you so much again. And this is the recording. I'll finish the recording now, and it will be up for very soon for people to review as well. So you're getting lots of love hearts there.